What is going on, all you Pokemon collecting maniacs out there? This is Ryan, the PikaPikaPaPa, and today we are going to be talking about the top 10 cards that have exchanged hands the most on TCG Player last month. Now, we have been doing this for 7 months in a row, and every single month we walk away from this video with some incredible learnings, right? Like, we figure out what is hot, we figure out what is cooling off, and every time it's this incredible, like, hobby level, macro level information, which we can apply into the upcoming month, and it's super cool stuff. The other reason I'm so pumped up about this video is because we've been doing a ton of deep data dives, we've been doing a ton of trend analysis, and it's interesting to see all of that kind of come together. A lot of these price movements, a lot of these cards on this list, we've had a feeling this was going to happen as of late, and as somebody who puts a ton of work into these videos for you guys, when I see it all come together, I get really excited. I'm like, yes, a W for PikaPikaPapa. So I'm very excited to see all this come together and share it with you today. So let's walk through what we're going to look at. So these yellow stars right here, these yellow stars represent how many months in a row a card has been on this list, because it's really interesting to see how many cards have had the wherewithal to stay on here month after month after month. So listen, if you're on it 3 months in a row and you fall off and you're back on it this month, no continuation. You are starting over from 1. And then in the bottom left, we are always going to show you not just the card price, we're also going to show you either the booster box or elite trainer box that the card comes from price as well, because it's really interesting to see the correlation between the sealed product and the card itself. Remember, so like Crown Zenith, it only comes out of ETBs, so there's no booster box that we can price from that, so we're going to use elite trainer box prices for that. So with all that being said, listen, I tell you all the time, a lot of these videos kind of link into each other. We do a ton of work here on the PikaPikaPapa space, and we have a ton of fun as well, and we're building an amazing community. So if you like what you see and like to become a member, hit that subscribe button. We would love to have you around, and if you think this is cool, give us a thumbs up, and as always, questions or comments, drop them down below. I respond to all of them personally. So now, we always start off with this as well. We not only talk about the cards that are on the list, we talk about the cards that dropped off as well, because that's just as relevant. And for me, what an amazing lineup of cards that fell off this month. You all know I am absolutely obsessed with this Mewtwo from Crown Zenith. I think this has the opportunity to, in time, maybe even overlap that Giratina and become the #1 chase card in the set. Probably not, but there's only a couple cards that I think could do it, and we know through our data dives the #1 card doesn't always end up #1. Matter of fact, most of the times what starts #1 doesn't end #1. So maybe this Mewtwo has the opportunity to leapfrog it. We shall see. Then we got the Gardevoir right there from Scarlet and Violet. We're all pumped up about that, right? A lot of times we see the same names here on this set, so we were cheering for the Gardevoir, but it fell off from #9 to not on the list this month. And then that Giratina alt art from Lost Origins. What an incredible piece of cardboard. The artwork is stunning. We're all super bullish on Lost Origins, you know, as a whole for the long-term perspectives of the set, and this is absolutely the anchor of the set, so really surprised to see this one fall off this month. And then even more surprising to me was to see this Miriam Special Illustration rare drop off. You know, the price is right. You can pick them up for around $50, so I don't think it's price prohibitive, and that's why it dropped off. You know, for me, I really want to see these big chase cards from these newer sets to be on this list pretty consistently. So hopefully this was just a blip on the radar. Hopefully when we look at this video next month, we'll see that back on there, because I do think that it speaks to the collectability and the desirability of Scarlet and Violet to see the big chase card on this list. So now, one of the things that I love most, and one of the reasons I'm so bullish about Pokemon cards collecting in the long run, is because of the game, right? It is not just amazing art. It's not just amazing characters that we all love and we all relate to. It is also an amazing game. Now, I am not big into the gaming space. I'm very transparent with that. I say it all the time. But I love it when a card is driven by play and it ends up on this list in Battle VIP Pass. Here you are. I am excited to see you on here. We have seen some other cards driven by that. It is awesome to see this card make it up here. So this is obviously making big waves in the playing game space, and excited to see this one on the list. Now, the next one right here, we're getting into the more of the collecting side of things, and this is this Pikachu. Now, we have talked ad nauseum about Crown Zenith and how I think Crown Zenith is going to be an absolute awesome Sword and Shield set for years and years to come. This is going to be an iconic card from the set, okay? I have no doubt this is going to be one of the most beloved cards from that set. Is it going to appreciate in price so that you can put your kids through college if you have 3 of these in a PSA 10? Absolutely not, right? These cards are everywhere. They're all over the place. But I do think that coming in at $13, $14, I think that the downside protection is there. I think that over the long run, especially as Crown Zenith starts to phase out of the market, I think there will be collector interest in this, and I think people will want to buy this in the future. So while it might not be the biggest gainer, I think this is an awesome buy and hold, and I think the artwork is fire, and I think this card is awesome. So With that being said, I did want to call out the Elite Trainer Box price down there in the lower left-hand corner. It has been popping off as of late. We'd had this huge discussion in the Discord, and then I did a video on it where we talked about how Crown Zenith is starting to become really hard to find in the Elite Trainer Box form out there in the wild. I mean, we have people from all over the US, and most of the people who were chiming in the Discord said, I haven't seen it in the wild in months. So we shall see. Maybe they're holding it up for a big drop come Christmas time or Black Friday, but a lot of us are not seeing it, and this price is indicative of that because the price is going up, right? So now we're going to talk about another card from that iconic set, and this is the Giratina Gold, and I love this card. I think the artwork here, I love all Giratina art, like I really do. I think this is just an awesome, awesome Pokemon, and the real cool thing is through the grading card video that we do every single month, we have seen Giratina absolutely skyrocket through the ranks. It is now one of the top 8 cards graded at Pokemon, or at PSA, excuse me. It is actually leapfrogged Rayquaza as more graded Pokemon at PSA, and there is something to be said for that because that just gives us an idea that there is a lot of collectors and investors out there who are very bullish on Giratina, hence why they are grading the heck out of it. So when you look at this card, this was one of the ones where we did that data dive and we see, hey, listen, it's been downward to the right, but it is starting to flatten out. And when I say flatten out, this is a 6-month view. If you were to drill in and just look at the last couple weeks, it is starting to uptick a little bit. Not enough for me to officially call out and say, hey, this is starting to trend upwards, but I will say this, it was selling in the low 80s. I've seen it in the 84, 85, 86, $88 range. It is starting to slowly tick up. Again, not enough for us to say it's a trend, but it's certainly something to keep an eye on. And obviously people love this card because look at those 3 gold stars. This bad boy has been on this list 3 months in a row, and I will tell you it has been on and off the list consistently ever since Crown Zenith dropped. Super popular card from an amazingly popular set. This card is banging. Now, next one right here. Speaking about crazy popular sets, Celebrations. We've been talking a lot on this channel about Celebrations and how the window to buy Celebrations could be closing because this was another product that you were able to find in various forms out in the wild there for a while, and it is really starting to dry up. Now, this Charizard card right here has been on here 2 months in a row. This is obviously the big chase card in the set, and this one has kind of bucked the trend of a lot of the other Charizards. If you look over the last year, this has been on a pretty steady up into the right trajectory, but if you look over the last couple months, it has really started to pop off. I think the fact that, October is going to mark 2 years since Celebration has come out, I think everybody's starting to get the feeling that what is out there is out there. There's not going to be any more. Who knows? Pokemon Company does what it wants to do. But I will say this, I'm starting to get that feeling that this is the time for me to make the move on Celebrations. The Elite Trainer Box, the price there on the left-hand side looks really approachable, right? It's been kind of flat over the last 6 months, which is good. I don't think that's going to last much longer. But this card is on absolute fire. People are buying the heck out of it, and I'm pretty sure that they are buying the heck out of it with the anticipation that, hey, guess what? There's not going to be a lot more packs to rip unless you pay a premium for it on eBay. So this card is awesome. Excited to see it on here, and I can't wait to see where it ends up next month. Now, coming in at this one, I love seeing new cards on these lists. I absolutely see it from Paldea Evolved, this Magikarp. Listen, I got a Magikarp 143 from XY. I have 2 of them in PSA 10. I just sent them through. I got them back if you watched our PSA blind reveal video, and I am a huge fan of Magikarp. Now, this is a card which has kind of bucked the trend of that Pokemon pop and flop I always talk about, right? Like before launch, it pops up in price, and then as soon as it comes out, it flops back down. But look, this one has been really, really steady in that $50 range. Now, the artwork is absolutely insane. I think this card is amazing. I am hoping that this one has the chops to kind of hold steady in the long run, right? $50 I think is a great card, and I think it would do really well for Paldea Evolved. I'm excited for Paldea Evolved more than I was for Scarlet and Violet base, but we shall see. You still see when you look in the lower left-hand corner, you see the booster box price has been on that downward in the right trajectory, not what we want to see, but it's also not atypical from what we see when booster boxes come out, but to see a $165 MSRP price product come out all the way down to $100, I'm telling you right now, any booster box under $100 is a great buy. Now again, we shall see where the Magikarp ends up, but super exciting to see that on here 2 months in a row. Now, I thought this was the month. I really did. I thought this was the month. The Lugia wasn't going to make it on there, but guess what? Here it is, 7 months in a row. Can't stop it. It's a freaking freight train, but the freight train has also been heading on a downward the right trajectory, and it has not slowed down. It has been on a very trend-worthy downward in the right trajectory. Now, we all know there was this restock for Silver Tempest, right? And you can see the booster box was getting up in the 145 range. Then it dropped off a cliff, and now it's heading in the $128 range, which I don't think is going to do anything to help this Lugia card, gain some momentum. I think that it is going to continue to drop down. But I will say this, this is an awesome piece of cardboard. Like this is a very, again, I use the word iconic sometimes, but this is iconic for that Silver Tempest set. I think this is a awesome one. This has been on the list for 7 months in a row. Obviously, there is a lot of collector interest in it. A lot of people are buying, a lot of people are selling. I think we need to give Silver Tempest more time to flush out of the market. I don't know when the right time to get in on this is. I'm telling you right now, I never try and catch a falling knife, so I think that this one I'm just going to sit back and watch for a little while. But if it ever hits that point where it starts to flatten out a little bit, I do think in the long run, depending on the price point you can get in at, this is going to be a really great buy and hold card, because I think Silver Tempest is a pretty cool set too. So with that being said, listen, I bow down to the king 7 months in a row. Nobody can argue with you on that. And then another one from Paldea Evolved, the Iono, right? This is what happens when you couple awesome playability with an amazing piece of artwork. You get a card that everybody is all kinds of excited about. You get a card that bucks the Pokemon pop and flop trend, right? Like you'll see again, another one, of course, it came down, but it is flattening out. We typically see cards on that downward in the trajectory for 6 to 7 months, but we've seen 2 cards now from Paldea that have actually flattened out. The Magikarp we just talked about, and this Iono as well. Now, what I was really excited about when I started putting this together and I got to this point in the video and I was at number 4, I was like, is the special illustration rare going to show up there at the end? And that's, we're going to have to wait and see. But I was really pulling for it and really wanted it to, because it was exciting to see this card here 2 months in a row. And it's exciting to know that this is being driven a lot by playability. This is being driven a whole lot by the artwork, right? I have one of these. I pulled one on this channel, so I was really excited to add it to the collection. But I really want to see those special illustration rares. I really want to see the chase cards from these new sets on the list. So we will have to see if it makes it. But anyways, excited to see this on here, and I think this is a fabulous piece of cardboard as well. Speaking of playability, it fell off last month, but guess what? Here it is. Forest Seal Stone makes an appearance again. It's the gift that keeps on giving. We can't get rid of it. Like, I know this is just a massive card in the playing space right now, so I won't get into a whole ton of it because we've talked about it a bunch here on the channel, but really excited to see cards from the playing side of things make it onto this top 10 list. Obviously, this list is playing and collecting agnostic, right? It just looks at the cards and the exchanging of hands, but I always love it when we get this because I just think it speaks to the strength of the overall Pokemon card market. Now, the next thing I want to talk about here, the Moonbreon. Here it is, always on the list. It's either on or it's only off for a month. It's been on here 2 months in a row. Now, I will say this, you look at the price trend, it has started to, I don't want to say it's on a downward trend because it has just been barely inching downwards, but it is starting to normalize a little bit. It is starting to flatten out. And one of the things that I talk about whenever it's on this list is I always like to keep an eye on the PSA 10 population of this card. So last month, we saw an increase of 325 PSA 10s. This month, we saw an increase of 612 PSA 10s. So really, over the last 2 months, there's been 1,000 additional PSA 10s of this awesome Moonbreon injected into the market. Now, what does that mean? For me, I'm keeping an eye on this for a couple reasons. First off, I want to see, like, is there a point where there's so many PSA 10s in the market that we start to see downward pressure on the single prices because everybody just says, hey, there's 10,000 PSA 10s out there. Like, I can buy a PSA 10 for the same price that I can buy a raw card. So why would I buy a raw card when I would buy a PSA 10? And that's going to cause the price to go down. Or the other thing I'm looking for is this card just so iconic. This is the iconic card from the whole Sword and Shield era. Is this card so massive, so awesome, so epic? It doesn't matter how many PSA 10s are out there in the market. It is just going to continue to appreciate in price or at least hold steady in that $600 range. Either one of those scenarios is going to be incredibly beneficial for us in the long run as we start to get the new era out here, as we start to have new iconic cards that come out, right? It is going to be very interesting to watch how this one moves because then we can watch PSA 10 population of future iconic cards and it'll give us some idea of what happens. Again, on this channel, we're always about trending and we're always about data, and I think this is going to be a cool one to watch. On here 2 months in a row, but as I said, for the last 7 months, it has been on again, off again, and the Evolving Skies Elite Trainer box is holding strong right at the $400 mark. I said this in a video not long ago. I think Evolving Skies is still a pretty cool buy at $400 for an for a booster box. I know that's crazy to say, but just imagine if you had bought Cosmic Eclipse at $400. Wouldn't you be happy? This might be the iconic set of Sword and Shield. I don't think there's going to be any repeat of Team Up simply because Team Up was short printed, but I do think that this set is going to do really, really well, and I still think $400 is a decent price to get in at. And then the card that I alluded to, I am so excited to see this card at number 1. This card is on the list, off the list, but the fact that the base set Charizard was number 1 this month is so incredibly awesome to me. And here's why. For me, this isn't a card that flippers are going after, or people who are dipping a toe into the market go after, or even new collectors really go after. Like, this is a card that true Pokemon collecting hobbyists go after. So the fact that I see this on number 1, like no card exchanged hands more on TCG Player than the base set Charizard last month, for me, that is incredibly exciting because what we we need is we need a very, very strong hobbyist base here. It doesn't matter if you're a collector, it doesn't matter if you're an investor, it doesn't matter if you're a player. None of that matters. I know everybody likes to silo this, people, but all we care about is a really strong Pokemon cardboard market. And when I see this card on the list, especially at number 1, we've never seen it at number 1. Over the last 7 months, we've never seen it that high. And I will tell you this, and that when I see it at number 1, it makes me feel really good. It gives me a lot of conviction that we have a lot of really strong, really interested, really like invested, not just monetarily, but emotionally, physically, like mentally, like invested in the hobby for the long run people out there. And that is why this card is at number 1. And that is why I'm so freaking excited about it. So with that being said, listen, everybody, I love it when we end on a high note. If you made it to the end of this video and you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, what are you doing? Hit that subscribe button. Questions or comments, drop them down below. And if you like what you saw, give us a thumbs up. I appreciate you guys. Have an epic rest of your Sunday, and I will talk to you next week. Thanks, everybody. Bye.